Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show. I'm in Ohio at the Ludowici factory. It's awesome. I mean, these guys are doing with clay what we're trying to do with millwork. Come join me today in the Build Show. Okay guys, when you have a company that's 130 years old and has built the reputation that they have, there's got to be processes that they're doing. There's got to be secrets to their success. And really the secret to their success is craftsmanship, quality control, and just history. And so we're going to start at the top of that hill. You're going to come down. Dan was our tour guide. He's going to be interjecting in some of this stuff here, but I'm going to show you how they make this incredible clay tile roof system, how they design it, how they handcraft it, where it comes from, and then how it ends up on your house, all today on the Build Show. So let me take you inside. We're going to do a great tour. Come join me.
All the buildings that are here have, most of them have our tile roof on the original buildings. And on each roof, they've applied a little bit of a different clay tile profile and a different color so people can actually see the different types of material. As the tile goes through the kiln, it starts out room temperature, it goes up to a bell curve of about 2100 degrees, and then back down all within 24 hours. The factory understands if I put a flat tile in with a curved tile, with a trim piece, air flows over that differently. You're going to see variation in the color. That's why airflow over creates a little different color on each piece. So as you look at the cost of tile, clay red is going to be the most affordable because we have to do nothing to it except run it and fire it. But when you go down to standard matte, it's going to be glazed, and we'll see some of that. And then you get to gloss, you have to add elements to it and make sure as you spray it properly to get that sheen. So there'll be a lot higher loss on the gloss tile, so we'll have lower yields. This is the clay bin area. If you dig anywhere in Ohio, this is pretty much what you get. So this clay came from 7 miles away. It's two types of clay. It's shale clay and fire clay. So those two combined create a very dense, moldable material that creates the industrial tile that we make. The other thing, when you talk about clay red, and this happened at LSU, so clay red from the quarry over here combined to the quarry over there is a little different. So it was more of a red tone. Over here it's more of a brown tone. So our clay reds of today are a little more brown red than red red. And that's where glaze comes in. We're able to glaze it to get back to early 1900s clay red color. And what I like to point out is if you take a look at the clay back here in the back, it's clumpy, it's rock-like. That's the way it comes out of the mine. It dries in here, and then it's put into this bin and then fed to the belt. It's going to go through a crusher. So it's about 3,000 pounds of pressure applied to it over and over and over again to be able to come out down here at the bottom, work its way all the way up, and then it goes into a filter. And if it makes it through that, it's actually good enough to actually be used on the line.
So what's really cool is if you look at the clay here and how clumpy and messed up it is right out of the earth, and then how they crush it. And when we go down there, you're going to see the very, very, very fine powder that's a result of this. But it's amazing it starts with that and then ends up like that.
So this is the clay bin area. So this is that fine clay that came off the belt. It's loaded. So you're looking at about a week and a half's worth of material here and a week and a half's material here.
So here's that clay that came out of the ground, and it's this purified, perfect dust now, basically, that they're going to reintroduce water to kind of make the clay for these tiles. Fascinating process of cleaning, taking raw earth, making it usable again. I kind of love it.
We'll make about 4 million pieces of tile a year. Part of that 4 million pieces is this RTS area. So these gentlemen are the true rock stars of Ludowici. That's what I like to call them. They are taking raw clay, forming it around shapes. It's all handmade to fit your particular roof condition. The gentlemen that you see behind us now are actually doing the finishing touches. As it comes out of the mold, it has rough edges, has to be trimmed and smooth. But you can see it's wood, it's wire cutters, and it's hands. So a lot of hands are creating the beautiful end pieces that are there. We talked about drying. Everything you see out here is being air dried, okay? So the process is it's made, it's air dried, And then we want to make sure there's no moisture in the clay. So as a part of that, we'll put it into a drying oven, which is about 120 degrees. So when you hear somebody say, I want a mist, I want a glaze, and I want a range, it all based on one thing, how this person sprays it. So they could spray a full range completely, then that's a base coat. Then they could put a mist on top, or they could spot it to create different variations of clay color. So you could put 2 to 3 different types of color on a glaze to be able to get the outlook that you need. Now we're in the glaze area, so we have standard colors on our website. If you look behind you, these are all standard colors that have been formulated with the chemical recipe associated with it. So as you take a look at the Dragon, these are a lot of the different tiles that were standard that we applied to it to be able to get to the original colors. You can't automatically see what the color is going to be because it could be yellow and it turns brown. It could be green and it turns dark blue. So this is the color lab. Let's walk out to the glaze area. So they'll take that information, come out here, and they'll actually put it in 300-gallon vats, mix it up. Once it's mixed, they'll pull samples out of it, glaze it again. So if you wonder why it takes a while to get samples, we want to make sure the color's right. It could take 3 or 4 firings going through this process.
So what they did was they took 2 tiles. They took a competitor's tile and they took the Ludowici tile and they put them in this press. And they've been wet for 24 hours. He put them in this press that's lifted up. And they were testing the pounds per foot that each tile could withstand. The Ludowici tile got over 1,000 pounds per foot, meaning you can stand on it, you can walk on it. The competitor ended up about 230, 240. So a big boy like me, probably going through that roof. So there is a difference, and if you look at the edge of the tiles, you can see the density difference too, that the density of the Ludowici tile is tremendous compared to the competitors. So one of the other things they tested was water absorption. And if you look at the 2 different tiles, it sat in the water for 24 hours. This one absorbed about 6%, 8% of water. This was like 1% or less than 1%. So the amount of water absorption, look how much better this clay is. The reason this one cracked at 300, 400 pounds and this one was close to 1,000 was because of that density and the quality material. So it does make a difference.
This particular line is our historic line. This line has to run slower, it takes longer, and there's more hands that have to touch the tile here to get the texture and to get the shapes. As it's turning and cutting, it's putting a texture on top of it, and someone will pick it up, carry it over to the belt. It'll go down the line and be able to get the additional textures, and then the spray on this line. Anything that comes off the line gets tagged, and then it goes on a specific track. And that's how we kind of keep track of where things are. The tracks are all connected to the trams, and so when they're pulled out based on the schedule, they're moved down and put in line to go through the kiln. So this is called a ceramic kiln. It's 350 feet long, so think about the size of a football field, okay? 25, 30 feet wide, and the base of it is water. So water runs throughout this kiln. The reason for that is it seals and allows the temperature to be maintained at the quality level we need it to be. Everything is taken off that, forked over, put in a box with a card, and then it goes down here to get shrink wrapped and then put on the yard. So that's the full process from start to finish, okay? We're gonna go through the old kilns. These are the old brick kilns. They would actually take the tile in by horse on a wagon, unload it onto setters up against the wall, and then they would drop coal in the middle. Back in the day when everything was done by this, they did a rail cart a day. So we're doing thousands of pieces a day, 4 million tile pieces a year, 6 million pieces overall, all through the factory you just walked through.
Okay guys, hope you enjoyed it. Ludowici in Ohio, an amazing company with amazing skills, craftsmanship, tradition, history. It's got it all. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Hull Millwork, Hull Homes. Sign up for the newsletter. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.